Okay. So if you go through that link, you should be asked to sign in or create an account, and then you'll get taken to this page. So everyone should do that. So you probably don't know what kind of space you want to create in the beginning. You might, but we're going to start off with empty space. But before you select a space, you can preview what it looks like. So hopefully this still works. Yeah, okay. So you basically can like click here on any of these spaces. So basically, this is how you can preview any of these spaces. Just to be clear, the controls, in case you don't know them, I like to use W, A, S, and D like a first-person shooter. So W goes forward, A is backwards. Sorry, S is backwards, A strafes left, D strafes right, and you can use Q and E to turn. And those, for me, are the best controls instead of the keywords. So W, A, S, and D, those form a little triangle, and Q and E turn. And you can also click and drag to turn, but that doesn't work as nicely on a laptop with the trackpad. So basically, before you select a space, you can preview any of these. This is like a festival dome. This is a warehouse, which has become pretty popular. Comedy club, which, oops, it dropped me off outside. That's a bug. Drop me off. Okay, we need to fix that. It's supposed to drop you off inside. If you're outside the comedy club, there's no going in. And then there's like an empty space, which is what we're going to use for the beginning of this. We're actually eventually going to, I think, use this gallery models space at the end, because this is a wonderful space that Jason, who's in the chat, he's a technical artist working on Arium, and he's created all these basically template galleries that someone could essentially take and place their art against and scale and modify and everything. So we'll show you how to do that at the end. So now that everyone's done this, let's start off with the empty space, because this is just going to go through the basic mechanics. So I'm going to select it. You give it ID, and this is going to be the URL that people are going to go to when they go to your space. It is not currently changeable. It'll likely be changeable in the future, but don't stress out so much about it. And you can optionally enter a password if you don't want people to access it publicly. So I'm going to give this thing test 1 or whatever. And then you create the space, and then it's there, and then you can visit it, and that's your space. And because of my microphone, my web, so one of the problems with like on certain computers, you could still access it without giving your webcam and microphone, but basically if your webcam is being opened in Zoom, you will not be able to open it in the browser. So this is my space that has nothing in it. To edit it, you have to currently click edit the space. Eventually, we're going to have everything integrated, but for now, I would do this. I would right click and open this in a new window. And then you have the space editor here. Currently, Arium is best edited with 2 browser windows and multiple monitors. In the future, we'll have it all integrated, but we're not there yet. We'll have it all integrated into 1 window. So, okay. So there's another thing I'm going to share in the chat, actually. There's a Google Drive folder that has a bunch of assets that people can use to upload for the purposes of this demo. So there's a bunch of media in there that people can, so if I'm going to actually show that on my computer, there's models, images, and videos. We're going to start by uploading an image. So if you go to any of these images, and then you download it to your computer, and then So it's going to download into downloads. Okay. And then what you want to do is you go to the files and you upload it. You can upload any image. That was like one image I was showing. Okay, I'll just upload this image, or I'll just go to the image that I showed. Okay. So that uploaded the image, and then I go to elements, and this is basically all the content that's going to be appearing in this space, and it's all hierarchical. So I'm going to add an element called an image. So these are all the different kind of elements you can add. So yeah, everyone should go try to upload the image into the files. And then after you've uploaded image into files, then you go to elements and you add an image. You have to give everything a name, a test image. So you can either upload a stored file or IPFS, which is something to do with NFTs, which I'll show if we have time. But basically, so I would choose the file here, and it limits you the file you chose to JPEGs. You can see with the images here, and then I'm going to save it. And then I will see the image inside the platform. Now, once the image is placed inside the thing, you can press T, and you can. So if you're logged in and it says edit this space, you're able to press T, and you can click on an element, and you can actually like move it around, move it up or down. And it will not get saved. Like it will not get saved unless I press the save button. You can press X to undo it. We're gonna soon have actual undo, redo on individual things. But let me just have this open so people can see it, and let me make this smaller so people can see this side by side. So if you have an element here, you press T, you can move it up and down. You can rotate it. So you can either rotate it freely, or if you hit Shift, if you hold on Shift, it'll limit it till it'll snap it to certain angles. And if you scale it, if you scale it, you can, if you press, when you want to scale it, that'll change the size. If you select this kind of like grayed out thing in the end, it'll scale it uniformly. Otherwise, if you do this, it's going to like stretch it, but most people don't want to do it. And if you want to undo it, to undo everything you did, you just press the X and it'll undo it. So then I'm going to make this smaller, move it down here. Yeah, and then you have an image here. So that's basic asset. Another thing you do, which is really nice, is you can actually give images frames. So if you click has frame, you can give it a little like border. One here. Again, right now, everything is in 2 windows. We're hoping to eventually move everything into like just everything integrated into the main view. But that is what we have right now. So I added a frame. You can see here that it has like a thickness. I can give it a depth of 0.4. I can give it a bigger border. Now, the frame, you can give it a color, and the color currently is white, but the reason it appears gray is because it needs to be lit. So there's a couple things. So there's the overall amount of lighting in the scene, and that's going to be the ambient light intensity. That's how much everything's lit. So you can make something brighter, and everything's going to be. So sorry, you go first to the environment tab, and this is like overall environment settings. You can make everything brighter. Another thing you can do in environment settings, you can actually change the skybox. So a very common one that people like to choose is the Milky Way, because it just looks really cool. And this is basically going to change the skybox of the scene. Right now, you can't upload new ones. we're hoping to have that available. And then there's this thing, Zwinger Knight, Kloppenheim. So I want to actually, before I go to, so first of all, if I go back to the image, you'll see that in here, these values got updated. There's like a scale, which is the percentage, how much these got scaled. This is where it's been moved to from the origin, and this is how much it's been rotated. And I'm going to explain actually quickly what the coordinate system is, because I think that's actually really important for people to understand. So if I go back to the slide that I had, which was where? If I go to this slide, it's just important to the coordinate system in here. So y, so there's basically 3 coordinates because it's 3D coordinate system. Like if you've ever seen a graph, there's the x and y. In our case, there's x, y, and z. Y is always going to point up towards the sky. X is going to point in one direction, and there's positive x and negative x, and there's z, positive z, or let me, positive z and negative z. And so x and z are always like at right angles to each other, pointing in different directions along the ground, and then y is going to point up. It's a little bit confusing, but the more you get the hang of things and play around, it'll make a bit more sense for those of you that are new to this. And then there's another thing about rotations. So whenever you rotate something around an axis, so you would think like rotating around the y-axis, when you're rotating, so if you look at this number here, there's a rotation. Even though I rotate this thing, let's say here, I rotate it like that. Let's say rotate it there. So currently this isn't, I have to unselect it and synchronize it. So this thing got rotated -30 around the y-axis. And let's set this to 0. You actually see the effect here. So whenever you rotate something around the y-axis, it's rotating it around, if you look at that slide, it's rotating it around the y-axis. So rotating it around this, imagine the axis is what it's rotating it around. If you want to rotate it around the x-axis, which is if you want to rotate it like vertically like this way. So what happens when I rotate it around the x-axis? Or let's put this back to 0. Now you see it's rotating this way. Same thing here, like you saw from the previous, y goes up. So if I move this thing to 5 here, this thing gets moved up 5. And another next thing I'm going to show is videos. So I'm going to upload, I'm going to download this video file here that Jason has graciously provided. And you all should do this too. And I'm going to upload this video here so that it's the same workflow. And then I will go here and upload a video file. So you do video, I'm going to get Jason vid, and I'm going to choose this thing here, and you can see it here. And I'm going to save it. And I'm going to explain all this stuff in a second, what these options are. Where is it? Where did it go? Oh, it's there. It's really small. Let me actually, okay, another thing, you can actually turn off any element really easily by pressing the off switch. So I press it off or I turn it on. And you can also delete an element by pressing the delete, and you can duplicate it by pressing duplicate. So for now, I'm going to turn off that image. I'm going to go up to this video, and I'm going to make it bigger. strange that it's very small. And I'm going to move this up. I'm going to rotate it. I don't know, let's rotate it to some random thing. So first of all, there's an autoplay setting. So if you have a bunch of videos in a space, like 10, you don't want them all to be playing at the same time for everyone, because it's going to make your computer, it's going to make everyone's computer really slow. It's going to take a lot of bandwidth. So there's a thing here, autoplay. If you have like one video, you want it to autoplay. So if I turn autoplay on, then it's going to autoplay no matter where I am. The video is playing. It might be hard to tell. Let me actually choose a different video that's more obvious. Let me does this play? No, that didn't export properly. I'm going to upload a video with an annoying sound, but it's more obvious that it's playing. And it'll actually show you some stuff that's going to... so I'm going to upload a different video. Just let it upload. So this is always playing now, no matter what. Yeah, this video is longer. So I'm gonna change this to the other one. That's okay, so this is a much bigger video with sound. I'm gonna move it up a little bit. So that must be slow down bandwidth. Anyway, so how do you choose when it's autoplay? So there's a thing called, if you turn autoplay off, it's only going to play on a certain condition. So there's one thing, max distance. This is the distance that you want, that you must be for it to play. So if you're farther than 20 meters away, it's not going to play. And there's a play sphere, and this is the key thing. So there's like an invisible sphere that if the person is looking at, the video is going to play. So if I make the distance like max play distance 100, it's going to play when I look at that sphere. But if I look away from the sphere, it's not going to play. And the reason, and so basically you can choose, like, if anyone, this is how you can choose when a video is going to play. If I make this thing 15, make it just some more realistic one, like the size of the video. So just think about the play sphere. When someone's looking at it, the video is going to play. I think it's just choppy because there's a lot of things going on my computer right now. And the play sphere doesn't actually need to be visible. It's just for when you're setting it up, you can just visualize what the play sphere is going to look like. Now, another really nice thing you can do, which is kind of like an advanced feature, is you can take a single video and you can break it into multiple surfaces. And this is useful if you have a video that's like has tiled and you have multiple parts to it. So what you can do is actually, I can, let me make this more visible quickly. You can take a video and crop the, so as you see, I crop it here. And then let's say I have the other screen. I can crop that one like that. And then currently there's no way to move things super easily. I would have to move it here. But you can basically move the second surface away from the first one. And then, you know, I can crop this further, like only show the top half. I don't mean to do that. And you can rotate it like 30. So yeah, you can basically have a video. You can even, if you wanted to do something really cool, like something I've done in another place, is you can like have a video appear multiple times. There's some bug there that the first one's still visible. So yeah, play surfaces is a way to like take a video and crop it and have it display multiple times. And also with videos, you can also add a frame here. I have to rotate those around or face the other side. We go to the other side. Let me just rotate that. Yeah, so if I go closer, you can see these videos have a frame on them. Okay, I'm going to pause now because I've been talking a lot, and I would like to ask if anyone has any questions, and also if anyone wants if anyone's been experimenting, if anyone wants to show what they've made so far. Someone posted this link. Yeah, anyone? Yeah.
I was just going to ask, what are the ways of like maybe interacting with images or videos that you upload?
Sure.
Like maybe.
So one thing you can do, yeah, actually, I was going to show that later, but I can show you now. Currently, the simplest way is, so I'm going to share my screen again. You can actually make an element. So you can make an image. So let's turn this video off. You can actually make an image, we call it interactable, which means, where is that option? Interactable. And currently the only one is show modal, but basically you can make it so that, so there's max interaction distance. So I could say, let's say 15. I'm still too far. Let's make it 50. This is how far it is. So you see when I hover my cursor over it, and then you can click and it can open a modal with some info. And you can have that linked to another site. And whatever's in that modal is customized, going with a full editor. You can add like links. I don't know. You can put a, so you can like link to other things. Oh, you have to put HTTPS in front of it. So that's the current, basically the current way you interaction with videos and images is like this interact. You can click on it and it'll open a new thing. And the other thing is have videos play when you go up to them. Currently. Are there, yeah, what else? Anyone else have a question? Anyone stuck? Okay. The next thing I want to show is uploading 3D models. So I'm going to turn this off for a second. And in this drive, there's actually a nice bunch of assets that people can use with aptly named things. So actually what I want to show you, which is a cool one, is like a, where did it go? Did I not upload it here? Yeah, okay. So if you download this file, animated morph cube, I'm downloading it, 1 second. Animated morph cube. So I'm going to upload that into here. So then I can upload a 3D model or cube. And you can see that there's that cube here. But hey, it's not doing anything. Let's move it up a little bit. So some 3D models have animations, and if you actually, okay, so just to take a step back, what I uploaded was a GLB file, and that's the format. GLB or GLTF are web-friendly 3D model formats, and some of them can include animations. And if you turn on, oops, I didn't mean to do that. If you turn on animated, if the thing has an animation built into it, it'll actually animate in here. And you can actually slow down the animation by changing this value in here. So if I make this like 0.1, it's going to animate really slowly. I can make it animate really fast by, so time scaled. It's like the 1 is going to be the normal speed. I can make this animate 10 times as fast. And then it's like going to do that. You can make it go backwards by putting a negative number in here. And then it's going to animate backwards, which isn't so obvious from this object because it's like a single, it's a single thing. But it's, yeah, so this is basically a animated cube and that's going backwards. So a lot of the times models will come with, let me actually show an example here, with a bundled material. Actually, I'm gonna show that topic later. Yeah, they have that that image again, which had this thing. If I wanted to place it against the wall, I would, let me turn off the interactivity for a second so that's not getting annoying. So I can take this image and then I can scale it down. Move it down here against this wall. Scale it down like this. And then I have an image against the wall. You can kind of see there's a gap, so I might want to move it a little closer. Okay. So that's like the basics of placing, uploading, and placing an image element in a space. I think what I will do next is, I know we're already in an hour, so people can feel free to hop out. But I think what we're going to do next is actually start from an existing space, which is the gallery models, which Jason created, and show about how to basically just go in there and start customizing it because it already has a bunch of stuff that you need. So if I go, okay, another thing that might be confusing to people, which I skipped over, is your space is always going to be here. Like this is the name of your space. And there's some chats. 1 second, let me see the chat. Okay, I see some questions. What 3D formats are supported? GLB and GLTF. And thank you for the comment, NH. The rest of this will be recorded, including lighting and modifying an existing space. Another thing, that's another question. Yes, you can keep using this forever until one day we might decide to start charging a subscription, but like we'll let you know ahead of time. But with the trial account, you can have up to 15 people in a space. You can have up to 3 spaces and you can connect them together with portals. if you need more than that, like if you need more spaces or more people, just email us and we'll be more than accommodating. It's just like we're trying to just keep things under the lids, under control right now, but like we're very flexible. Like if you want more spaces, more people or whatever. And also like there's some bugs right now where it thinks the space is full and it isn't. We're working on fixing that. So if that ever happens to you, like email us right away and we'll fix it. We're very early, so you know, please be patient for us while we fix these bugs. And I'm just gonna, so just to quickly explain, I think another really cool feature you can do is sharing. When you want to share this space like to social media, let's say I want to share this space on Discord right now. Let's say I go to the Discord and I paste, I'm gonna paste it here. It's not giving the metadata right now. It should be. Normally, this would be picking up the metadata. So there's a metadata image, which basically this is going to be the image that appears when you share a space on the thing, and you can actually edit it from right here. So if you click on space settings and you change your metadata image, I can capture this shot. And that's the shot that's going to appear when you share this on like Twitter or like on iMessage or WhatsApp or Facebook message. And so this is really nice to be able to set this. And it'll, even if there's people in there, it'll capture them. So let's say I'm in here. I don't have my camera on, but it'll, so you can like take a screenshot of like a bunch of people at your party and then just save the metadata image. And when I post this, hopefully now this will work. Let's see. Yeah, so what's really cool is now this is going to show up wherever you share this thing. It's very nice. Another thing, this is the welcome text. So when you load sorry, I skipped that thing. When you load so there's this text here that can be customized in the space settings here. Cool. Quickly, what the other elements you can add is you can add a 3D model, text, image, light, which I'll talk about in a little bit, screen sharing, video, and another form of video is live stream, which I'll talk about in a future workshop. There's broadcast zone, which is if someone stands in this broadcast zone, everyone can hear them. And there's this really cool feature, the reflector service, which I'll show you in another thing. And there's portal, which lets you create a link between multiple spaces. So if you walk into that portal, it'll take you to another space. You can also have a portal that just like forwards you inside the space itself. So like you can have it take someone onto the roof or something like that. So I've been talking a lot. I want to just quickly pause because I'm talking a lot and I feel like it's very one way. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Anyone want to show something they've been doing while I've been talking? Anyone feel like it? Okay. Well, then I will continue. So let's go through choosing an existing space, which is the most common workflow unless you're like a full-blown 3D modeler. And we're working with some architects to like make some really cool new spaces that are going to be coming out soon. And also Jason on staff has been making some really nice templates. So if I go back to, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to share my screen. So if I go back to spaces, so the way back to create a new space right now is to go to spaces new. And again, you can create up to 3 of them. And another thing in this dropdown, you'll see, I don't want to show this, you'll see all the spaces you have access to. So I'm going to go to the chat. Someone said something, 1 second. Okay, yeah, if you have to leave now, I know this is going longer than an hour. This is all going to be recorded, so you can fast forward to another section. So let's go create, let's choose this wonderful gallery space thing. Ideal capacity, we're just saying that, but it really doesn't mean it. I mean, it can be more than that, you know? So let's choose this thing. I'm gonna give it, whatever, I'm gonna give it a short name. I don't know, ABC, I don't know, hopefully. Okay. Cool. So let's check out this really cool space that exists. So you have a bunch of like gallery spaces that Jason's made, modeled after real spaces he's visited in all these different formats. And what I would do if I were creating this is, you know, find one that I like and turn everything on and off, turn things off that I don't care about. So this is like modeled after a church, I believe. Nice, the textures are fixed. This is a modeled after a gallery in the Met, which some people I'm sure have seen. So let's say I decide I want to use this Met gallery is a good example. So if I go into the edit the space, let me open that in a separate window. What I could do, so I'm out here, I see all the spaces here. To know like what space, sometimes you want to know what the element you want to leave on, I would press T and I would choose this. It says selected, like I said, this is in a group, the Met Gallery. So I would go to elements and I can actually turn off all the other things that I don't care about. Let's see them all turn off in real time. Pyramid Gallery, Prism Gallery. Let's just leave on the Met Gallery. And there we go. Now I just have the Met Gallery visible. So turn off the ground and then I'm flying. So let's say you're in this Met Gallery and you want to edit it. So one thing I can do is I can actually, let's say I want to make it bigger. I can go, oh, actually one thing I didn't talk about is grouping, which I meant to. So let's say there's this Met Gallery and you can make it smaller. So I can, let's say I go out here, I can make the whole thing smaller because everything is under a group, which I'll actually explain in a second. If I can scale everything together. That did not seem, oh, because I didn't do uniform. That's weird. Maybe the grouping wasn't actually properly. Oh, I know why, because it's below the ground. So then what I could do is I can, ideally I want to select the whole thing. There, the Met Gallery is selected. That's what I want to be selecting. So I can move the whole thing up, which is really cool. And I can like move it this way. I can scale it. Like you can see, okay, this is kind of big. Let's see what feels right for my event. So you see this is a little bit above the ground right now. I can scale the whole thing because it's all in a group. Let's make it, yeah. So let's move it actually all down a bit. So you want to make sure that you're selecting the whole group, and I'm going to explain groupings in a second. So cool. So as you notice, everything is under this element, which means that if I scale this Met Gallery root element, everything under it is going to be scaled proportionally. And let's say I want to scale this wall. What I could do is I can actually scale it. And what's cool is that the element that's on it's going to scale with it, because the element is a child of that parent. And so this is called selected divider 1. Let's actually look at it in the content tree. So divider 1, you see here, it has two arts that are children of it. That means these things are under it. That means if I scale this thing, then the elements under it are going to be scaled. So you see that this is like smaller now, and the elements with it got scaled down. Now, what would have happened if, so first of all, these things are under it. If I moved art, which one's this? So this is art1 dupe. So if I move art1 dupe outside of the divider 1, so you can move anything outside of a group by just dragging it. I can move it, like, so right now it's in divider 1, I can move anything into here, for example. And now what happens if I scale this thing, see that thing didn't scale with it. It's not scaling with it because it's no longer a child of it. That art is no longer scaling with it. So I'm going to cancel that. So I can move it back in there. And one thing that's actually really cool is that you see this art1 dupe has like scale, position, and rotation. When I move, this is like the scale within, this is these values within inside of it. If I move this out into the Meg gallery, these values are actually going to be updated to be now what is this scale, position, and rotation relative to its new parent. So whenever like you have elements that are together that you want to be scaled or moved together, it's always good to group them. And like, yeah, I can like move this wall this way and everything gets moved together. Whereas if this thing was not there, it would not be the case. So I think this has already gone kind of over an hour, and I'm going to stop this presentation. I also see there's not that many people left. Our progression, yeah, the whole gallery. So the whole gallery structure. That's a good question.
Jen, for me, you can keep going. I'm here. I just have my camera off. My internet's a little bit broken. I'm following completely what you're doing. Actually, I have a bunch of like, I don't know.
Yeah. Why don't you ask some questions right now? So the whole gallery. So if you see here, everything under gallery, like it's actually each one. Like if I go, I could turn the whole gallery off. But the way that Jason built this is like there's a hierarchy. So if I go out here, like I can turn off, let's say gallery floor, like they're individual parts that are all under this, like there's the Meg gallery, which is just a bunch of models under it, a bunch of elements contained within. So each of these, like this is a model file. It's actually a bunch of models grouped into one thing, different GLB files.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think my internet broke when you were explaining the divider.
Yeah, so like a divider itself is like a 3D model, and it also contains art pieces.
Okay.
Which you can like you can have because these art pieces are placed as children of the divider, that means I can move the divider and they will all move with it, right?
You're not sharing your screen, I think.
Oh, I'm not. Okay, I apologize. Thank you. So let's say, okay, so because these children, these two art things are children of divider 1, that means when I move divider 1, the children are going to move with it. So if if like, you know, these arts, if I move them out of here and now I move divider 1, see the children don't get moved with it because they're no longer, like the two art pieces don't get moved with it. So basically what you want to make sure is if you want something to move with something else, I would move these back as children as divider 1. And now when I move divider 1 or I scale it, these things basically will all get moved and scaled together because these are children of that model, of that element. I can even have like, I don't know, like just as a weird example, I can make like art2 as a child of art1, and then when I scale, that's actually, you're not going to be able to see it. If let's say I scale this thing down here, you can see the, well, I guess because it's in the wall, it's not. Let's say I can like, if I move this one out here, you'll see because art2, like anything can be a child of anything. That means if you move the parent or scale the parent, the child is going to be moved and scaled with it. So this thing here, I made art2 on the right a child of art1. That means when I move art1, they get moved out. But because art1 dupe is a child, like this one isn't going to be like the parent isn't going to be affected by the child. But in this case, it is. It's a weird case. So just another example. Let's say I want to, like, I can move these, I can scale because, yeah, Jason actually organized this very nicely because this is called stand 2. Stand 2 has a child that is like this model. So because I move stand 2 and the model is a child of it, they get scaled together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me, clear. I didn't try it out. I'm most observing now, and then I'll watch the recording and try to follow as well. But I was asking about the entire structure, the walls.
So yes, like each wall, like the way he built it is like the whole thing is grouped. It's like each wall is a 3D model that was uploaded independently, but they're all grouped as, like, basically what he did is I think he made all the walls he did it that way so it's very modular. But basically all of those wall sections are like independent 3D models that are grouped under this parent. So like there's gallery wall here, which I can turn off independently. This is linked to a GLB file, but because this is a child of the Met gallery, if I scale this to like 0.3, everything becomes much smaller. I don't know, let's make it really tiny. Let's make it like a miniature museum. Oh, what just happened there? I'm like way up in, now I'm like in a miniature museum. Let's move this down to, yeah, so let me move this up a bit. Because because these walls are a child of this Met gallery thing, so each one of those is a different 3D model. But you can upload it in different ways. Like if you don't care about doing everything independently, you could have them all as one thing, as one GLB file.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think I'm clarified.
Yeah, so cool. So the next, yeah, so basically, yeah, it could be like one 3D model or a bunch of 3D models grouped together. In this case, it's a bunch of different, like, essentially a wall is one of the 3D model that was uploaded. This wall is one 3D model. you can turn on. Each of these are individual 3D models that have been uploaded. Let's see, north wall. What else is there? South wall is like this one. So south wall, that's a group. And I can turn, I don't know which wall that is. I'm not sure exactly where. Oh, I think that these are actually like this part. This is all one wall. I'm not sure exactly what is part of it, but yeah, you can see here all the other ones that I just turn on, and these are all ones that can be just selected. So a good way to like have a space that you might want to turn different things on or off is just to have a bunch of them and have them all like grouped together, a bunch of different spaces within like a single space, and you can group them together. And then I think a final question would be, okay, how do I link these to NFTs so that you don't have to upload the file? So let's say you have to give the IPFS URL. So let's say I go to, I don't know, I'm going to go to my NFT collection on this website. So let's say I want to upload this image here. So I would go here and get the IPFS URL. But this is actually the IPFS address, and what I would do, and we need a better workflow against this, I would do ipfs.io/IPFS. So you basically take the last part and you replace the domain by this. Just double check it works, and then I would just paste it in here, and IPFS image. And where did it go? There it is. Same thing can go for videos. I really like 3D models on this website. So if I go here and let's just show a really cool 3D model here that I'm actually always curious with it. I really love this person's work. So I would click on IPFS. Let me actually just copy link address. And if I go here, you'll see this one is a URL, and I would change that to be ipfs.io. So let's add a 3D model here. I give it the URL there, and IPFS model. I don't know. Let's see, any questions, chat?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Let's check this out. If you create a, oh, cool. Wow.
Wait, so look behind you, go to your left.
Yeah.
And then so on the far side of the house on the left, you see those colored blocks. So each one of those is a separate polygon. So I think that's really slowing it down like crazy. So I would need to like go in and like optimize the mesh so that
Did you put as collidables? Yeah. Did you put as collidables?
No, just that each one is like it's a relatively large file. Just those tiles is like 5 megabytes, and each one has its own material, things like that. So
yeah.
So I mean, I've done a little bit before of like making stuff for Unity, so that I know how to set it up with like textures to make it faster. But right now I just did a test. So
yeah,
putting these in, like each block is separate, so it's kind of slow.
That makes sense.
But I mean, this is still relatively simple. If you have like gigantic models and crazy stuff in there, I'm sure that'll start to bog it down, right?
Yeah, and I think what we want to have eventually is like a level of detail thing where you could basically upload different resolutions of the model. That'll be like, if you're far away, it's like lower poly, or I think there's actually some people have come out with like an automatic level of detail thing. But yeah, this should, like my computer, I'm not on a gaming PC, so this should not be this slow. I have also a question, are you adding, yeah, like when I'm in here, it's fine. But if you notice when I, like here, it's fine. But as soon as you turn around and look at that, it gets really slow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Hi. Well, I can't see you because my camera's not on, but yeah. So yeah, something with those things.
Well, I'll play around with it. This is really just dropped directly in from Rhino, which is not optimized for this.
Yeah, Rhino can be a little slow. And then another thing, lighting, when you have like a crap load of polygons and you're having shadows.
I think I turned the shadows off and all that, but
yeah,
take a second to update it.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, you have to maybe turn, yeah, the shadows. I'll probably do another workshop on like lighting and stuff like that. But yeah. This is cool,
I turned the stuff out, but it's just still not I don't know, maybe it needs to be reloaded.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is those are the tiles from that we actually have on the house. But also nice. Everything I'm putting in is mirrored for some reason.
It's like inverted?
Yeah. So like that piece is supposed to be on the right side, and then it's like backwards also.
It could be the coordinate system export or something.
Yeah, yeah, because Rhino does Z up and then this is Y up.
Yeah, it probably has something to do with it, yeah. I'm gonna stop recording and I'm gonna stop recording.
All right.
How do I stop recording?